welcome everybody to the official top 4 of the World Championship Series. This is the Premier League and this is the Season 2 Finals. We are live as always from Toronto, Canada. Joining me for the first semi-final is In Control and Rotterdam. Good to have you up here. This is nearing the end. It's been a long season, starting all the way back in California, in Burbank, and of course, then into Germany, we're in Cologne, and now we're here in Toronto. It's been a fantastic season, Roddy, but we must crown a champion today.
Yeah, I do think we have to do that, Sean. Otherwise, all these people is like, well, I kind of came here to see a champion.
No, we're crowning him next week, actually.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Like, come back on Monday, you know, when it stops raining in Toronto. Nah, it's been an awesome ride, and I think we have 2 semi-finalists, which everybody kind of predicted. You know, Polt and Hydra, they were the finalists of Season 1. Everyone looks into the player list and we're like, well, it's going to be hard to beat those guys. Bunny is like the guy you kind of hope for because he's been doing so well in the WCS ranking, but you never know. Like, no one has done it before, what he's doing now. And then we got Lilbo, it's kind of the showtime of this season.
Yeah.
It's very exciting top 4, I'd say.
Very, very impressive play from Lilbo, of course, only dropping a single map in Premier League this season. But let's switch our focus to the semi-final before we bring out the players to the stage. Polt versus Hydra, the repeat final from Season 1. I mean, a lot of people thought at the beginning we could have a repeat final, but they've met in the semi, Jeff.
They have, and it's nice that it's a semi. It could have been the quarterfinals if the bracket would have been anywhere different. So it's nice that they're meeting here. Polt kind of came out and said it, or yes, it was Polt. Was it Polt or Hydra?
Yes, Polt. Well,
Polt.
I mean, they both said.
One of those two guys said, this is the final, and that's...
Hydra said that.
Okay, Hydra said that. It's quite arrogant, it's quite confident, but there's a lot of kind of sports psychology about actually believing that to be true and then delivering is some of the most powerful stuff you can do in competition, and both these guys have done that in the past. And it probably is, it's a very good bet that they'll do it here as well, which makes the important dynamic for me, on the flip side, the 2 foreigners, Bunny or Lilbo. Which one of those 2 can potentially knock them down?
And of course, there is Polt's trophy on the camera there, on the stream. Is it really going to be his again? Can he take it back to back? He's done it in the past, Roddy.
He has done it in the past, but I feel it's going to be even more difficult to do it today. I think the finals last season, I mean, Hydra was up 3-1. You often think back on Season 1, it's like, yeah, Polt won it right there. But Hydra was up 3-1, man. He had 3 match points, and Polt just played out of his mind in Game 5 and 6. Those were legendary StarCraft games. And Game 7 was played on a map that's not around anymore. You know, Secret Spring, he won't have a Secret Spring in Game 7. So it's going to be a lot more difficult, I think, this time in general, and I feel Hydra is even more poised to really take it.
Is it crazy to think that we could have a European champion today?
Yes.
No.
Sorry, you're
Roddy?
Kevin.
Well, I don't know. That's good that you weighed in, but Roddy.
Okay, so I think there are 2 scenarios where I think a European champion is much more likely. If we have a Hydra-Lilbo final, I truly believe that the French produce can take it. His PVZ is really solid. But I think for Bunny, the much better opponent is Polt, because I really like Bunny's TVT and he has defeated Polt in the past. If it's Bunny versus Hydra, I think that's going to be very difficult. Just like I think it's going to be very difficult for Lilbo if he runs into Polt.
Okay, thank you. No European at all?
I mostly agree with that, but I would just say I think like if Bunny is able to topple Lilbo, both of his opponents are a monster for him. It would be really hard to see him overcoming that. And Lilbo against Hydra, it's possible, but still, I would put him at second.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's time to bring the players onto stage. This is your top 4.
If you've been watching all weekend and you couldn't think it could get any more exciting, this matters even more, doesn't it, everyone? The semifinals of the Season 2 Premier League Finals starts now. Our first player, the Protoss Prodigy, coming over from France, representing Team Millennium, it is Lilbo! His opponent currently in the top 16 global rankings for the WCS. Can he get more points to secure a safer spot? Can he be that hope for the global finals for all players around the world outside of Korea? It is Team Liquid's Bunny! Which one of these players will get a shot to Battle of Korea and a chance for that trophy. Let's find out. Players, shake each other's hands, enter your booths, and give us a great show in the first semifinal.
We are moments away from finding out who is going to the grand finals to play for the trophy, to play for the title of WCS Season 2 champion. We have one of the most talented and one of the biggest rising stars in the European scene going up against the #1 player from outside of Korea. A fantastic matchup to start the semis, Roddy.
Yeah, I'm really loving it. I think this is a great PVT on paper. Bunny has so much going for himself. And, you know, just thinking back about Bunny's career, it's been such a cool journey. It's been slowly but steady. He's just been getting better. It's like a never-ending upswing in his career when it comes to results. Well, Lil Bao, I wouldn't say came out of nowhere, but it all happened so much faster. You know, if you would have said 3 months ago, I could see Bunny going to semifinals. Like, yeah, people kind of thought that. With Lil Bao, that would have been a much more of a bold prediction. But it's a really cool semifinals on paper.
Bunny now, as mentioned just below us, sits within just about the top 16, currently tied 16th place with SOS. And of course, top 16 means you get to play at the global finals at BlizzCon at the end of the year. A victory here, a victory in the finals really starts to make this a reality, because it's all about, can we get a player in? And then the next question is, can he stay in?
Yeah, and that's ultimately that's what this is. This is the WCS Season 2 Finals, but it is essentially a gigantic qualifier for the biggest tournament in StarCraft 2, and that is BlizzCon. And having, you know, we've talked about this in these storylines all throughout the entire weekend, but just having the peace of mind of being like, okay, I did it. Now the rest of the year is building up towards that absolute grand final. It's huge, and there's a very real possibility. Like, it's been hypothetical in the past, but now tied for 16. Can he tack on another 300 points? Can he tack on another 1,000? If he does that kind of stuff, he's building a great year for himself.
It's going to be absolutely brilliant if he's able to do so. But let's look on the other side now. Lil Bao finally broken out, Roddy. Finally.
Yep. I mean, we've been talking about it so much that Lil Bao has been getting a lot of love from his Protoss colleagues in Europe. A lot of the pros in Europe have been saying, like, Lil Bao is one of the best Protoss players in Europe. And even before this weekend, we kind of all sat around, like, it's kind of bizarre how everybody rates him so extremely high, while he didn't really have the results to speak for it, to back up all that, you know, that promising talk that he gets. But now finally he's like, hey, top 4 semifinals, WCS Season 2. I mean, that's really impressive. And it was a long time coming, in a way, even though he did rise to stardom quite quickly. Still, though, with all the love, like, he needed something like this, and now he has it.
And look at the two of them, though. Bunny definitely has done very well to get where he is, but it hasn't been that clean. He's messed up once. He had a second chance in group stages. Now, compare that to Lil Bao. Complete domination throughout the tournament since being in Canada. He hasn't dropped a single map while being in Canada, by the way. The only map he dropped was in the round of 32 against Hydra. That's so impressive.
Yeah, it's actually a ridiculous run. It's been a run that we haven't seen in a long time from before, and not even like Snoot or Bunny, even though they've been very consistent. They've always had their 2-1 victories, or, you know, their 3-2s, but this is actually insane. The only counter argument to that is that you could say that on paper, maybe Lil Bao had the easiest group in the round of 16. What?
The little counter argument? Bunny made it out of the group of death, my friend.
Yeah,
he made it out of the group of death, and he beat one of the champion Koreans in the quarterfinals as well.
But I mean, that's always a lot easier said than done. People look at that group and be like, well, Lil Bao should make it out. But doing it and making it out is often a huge difference. And how often haven't we seen those guys that we thought were going to do it? Like, everybody expected Snoot to make it out of the round of 32, and that didn't happen. So it's still very impressive what the Frenchman is showing us.
So you'd say now that this is Lil Bao's true test?
I mean, I think he's already been testing. I think Marine Lord in the quarterfinals, I think that was already very serious, and he just dismantled his buddy and teammate.
Well, it's all right, Team Liquid. It's all right, Bunny. I got your back. This is the test. Bunny has been playing on fire. He made it out of that group of death, which was absolutely head and shoulders the hardest group in this entire tournament. And he stumbled and fell in day 1 and came back firing. He actually destroyed Stardust. That was a horrible series, if we're being honest with ourselves, because it was so one-sided. And now he faces another guy that's only dropped 1 game since the round of 32. I do make the argument that he's faced lesser opponents in this tournament, but man, it's not like I'm saying Lil Bao can't beat him. He beat Hydra as one of the guys to get here as well. So, I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Here is Bunny, of course. 2-time top 4 player within the WCS this year. Fantastic, fantastic play. And an opportunity to reach what he's always wanted from the very beginning of his StarCraft career, a chance to play in the finals. And being so close And so far in Season 1, when he had to go up against Pult, he goes up against Lilbo. Here are the map pictures you see on screen. The first map to be played is going to be Iron Fortress Rotterdam.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me too much. I'm a little bit surprised by the veto of Bunny. Cactus Valley, that is a map that a lot of Protoss players are not very fond of at all. So I kind of wonder why Bunny's vetoing it. Maybe worried about a crazy 2-base all-in. Maybe hates playing against Phoenix Colossus. That is a style that Lilbao has shown us on this map. But that's very surprising. Map number 1 being Iron Fortress. I'd say this is maybe not necessarily a must-win for Bunny, but this is one of the better Terra maps out there. It's very difficult for Protoss to secure all 3 bases. There's a lot of distance in between your natural and your potential third base. So I think this is like, if Bunny really wants to get a good start off, he has to kind of dominate this map.
All right, well, we're going to be going into the game very shortly. I want a prediction from both of you before we go over. Jeff, who is winning this and why?
I believe it to be Lilbo. I want it to be really close. It's the fan in me. I think it's going to be probably like a 3-1. He's just been too crafty and too clever and too sharp with his timing attacks, and we haven't seen that yet tested against Bunny.
I mean, Jeff is wrong over here. I think Bunny is going to take it. I think Bunny is going to win 3-1, but I do think it's going to be very close. It's going to be a very exciting back-and-forth series. But Bunny has shown phenomenal understanding of TVP and, you know, just making the best out of very little scenarios. I think Bunny is going to do it.
Thank you very much. We will have more of you later on. But for now, the semi-finals begin. Can Bunny get what he's always wanted, or will Lilbo just rocket to the top?
Time for one of the most important semi-finals in World Championship history here, as we have 2 non-Koreans competing to find out which one will move on to the grand final. Liquid Bunny has looked good all WCS long, but now the upstart, the star, the diamond in the rough, Lilbo is looking to challenge him. Let's get into game number 1 here, Todd, as we find out in this best of 5 who is going to be moving on to the grand final. It's sure to be a great one, as we have spawning up to the top left-hand corner of Iron Fortress in the blue, it is Bunny. And down to the bottom left-hand corner, it's the red Protoss. He's looked so powerful all season long, representing Millennium. It's Lilbo.
Neither of these players was paying attention to the Terran vs Zerg that just took place, Skylights. They were both studying each other because in the previous round, they both played in the same matchup that they're going to be playing now. So they try to find weaknesses on their opponents, how to exactly counter them, you know, in this series. Find the small weaknesses in their play or just build otherwise. Definitely can give either of them, you know, a huge lead in terms of early on build order to propel them into the series or even one of the maps in an advantageous position, ideally. And believe me, there was a lot to study. Both of these guys put in some real work in the quarterfinals.
It's a momentous occasion, Todd. It is a momentous occasion seeing this semi-final go down between Bunny, the player who people consider to be the best non-Korean in the world right now, and Lilbo, who has risen to those heights. And for the longest time, when he never had a chance to prove it, this is the perfect opportunity for him to just lay claim to one of the top spots in the non-Korean world. And what a way to start it off. What a way.
I don't think too many people know that, but these 2 players, in the last 2 weeks, they've played each other twice in an online tournament. The first time was in a group stage, the second time in the semifinals. Both times, Lilbo was able to win 2-0 against Bunny. So far in the last 2 weeks, he's up 4-0 against a Bunny who doesn't really lose against Protoss usually, especially not from Europe.
And after, I mean, we cast Lilbo versus Marine Lord on Stream B, and after the interview we had with him there, I had a sneaky question after the interview, and it was, how do you feel going up against either Bunny going into the semi-final? And he said, I actually feel more confident going up against Bunny than I did against Marine Lord.
Oh, wow.
So,
considering how it went against Marine Lord, I'm a little bit worried for Bunny here. If that proves to be true, the probe needs to get away here. He's going to do just that. Lilbo going for a Stargate that we've seen a lot from him. He's usually Stargate Oracle out of Lilbo, or Twilight Council and Blinkstalkers opener, and sometimes even both. He goes Oracle into Blinkstalkers. We've seen that versus Marine Lord earlier. It was an Inferno Pulse. He played on Iron Fortress actually earlier against Marine Lord, and he went for a 2-base Blinkstalkers Colossus. He basically stayed on 2 bases, masked, took a good fight, and then won. I really like that Bunny, by the way. He hit his SCV after scouting that Nexus. He went in the corner here, and he's going to be hiding there for now, probably for a follow-up scout later on.
Now, just the 3 barracks churning away, actually not making anything just at the moment, really wanting to get that economy up and running, adding on the bunker at the front, getting the tech lab down so he can continue on with this bio maneuver. The engineering bay now finishing up to deal with the Stargate at the back is going to help out a little.
That Nexus wasn't super fast, by the way, because Lilbo went for the second gas before throwing down the Nexus, so I think Bunny might have picked up on that. Because look at this, right now, he's getting a turret in natural. He has Marines very well placed against the Oracle that's going to fly in. He's already getting ready very well. He knows that there is the likelihood that Lilbo is going to go for an Oracle, and he's right.
Oop, activate, doesn't get anything killed just yet. This will waste a little bit of energy whilst he's trying to navigate around to the main base even, I should say. And those Marines will be able to ward it off. So good defenses by Bunny so far.
Good. Perfect defense, man. He doesn't lose anything. He knows what opener he was up against. Now he already knows all of the follow-up timings, you know, in terms of Colossus and all that. He saw Lilbo's game against Marinelord on this map, so he knows also that there is a chance Lilbo might do the same thing. Look at this. Very quick Robo Bay, Twilight Council. We've seen this before.
Yes, we have.
So far, this is very identical here by Lilbo, and I'm sure Bunny, he already has this on his mind, even though he's not seeing it right now.
Yeah, if you missed the games between Lilbo and Marinelord, this ended up in a very, very long kind of contain essence move by Lilbo moving forwards.
And this is why Lilbo is so brilliant. He always seems to know what his opponents know and are going to think of him, and he plays to his image very well. He played on 2 bases, and in a very, you know, all-in committing style against Marinelord. What does he do here? Double forge for upgrades.
Changes it up.
There is no way Bunny is going to be able to expect this. And if Bunny plays defensive and gives Lilbo enough time to really use this forge very well and get some good upgrades going, he's going to be in a bit of trouble.
That is scary. That is scary. You've identified that perfectly there, Todd. So Lilbo really keeping his opponent guessing. We said even during our previous series with Lilbo that he has so many tools available to him. Almost every single game will be a different build to keep his opponent guessing, to keep them on the back foot. And Bunny here just going to have to really try and read into every single game, because very rarely will you see the same game twice.
That was close here. Lilbo definitely needs to keep that alive. Later on, the revelations, really what can allow a Protoss to see the Medivac drops coming and defend better against them. He's going to go up to, I think it's 5 gateways. With the double force that he has, it makes, it's a good number, you know, 5 or 6, usually where you want to stay at. And right now, 48 probes already here for Lilbo, so there's a good chance he's going to want to go into a 3rd base with this. The thing about Lilbo is that this is a build that is practiced for months, almost exclusively versus Terran on ladder, so he's very good at it. I've seen him pull it off many times very successfully. You know, he goes into the 3rd base, he starts charge as Blink finishes, he gets a good amount of Stalkers to snipe Vikings and Medivacs, and every one of his transition, and in particular the 2-2, he's gonna come so fast, assuming, you know, he doesn't take any damage before. Look at this already though, a little bit behind in supply. That's because he went for the double forge.
Using the Oracle as well to try and scout out any hidden bases if they were to come around on that right-hand side, dropping the Revelation on this. Also, to keep eyes on Bunny's movements. At the front, he should have a Colossus and 2 to keep himself stable here. And the double forge whirring away. So if Chrono Boosts go into them at all, he's going to gain himself a really, really nice position with those upgrades.
Wow, Bunny, that's a cute move. Fully knowing that there was an Oracle out on the map, he made the turrets at his 3rd base, and now he started the command center. So that's not snipeable.
Yeah, he can't.
That's really, really cool here.
Unless the SCV moves to the very left of that corner and he's there at exactly the right time. Rare that would time out.
Lilbo's going to fly close, actually, with his observer here.
Spots it, and maybe even takes a shot. Very close there. Another Revelation, and he does take a shot there with that observer. So he knows that he's, well, been spotted up towards the top. 2-2 starts very, very fast here for Lilbo.
Yeah, Bunny, he starts Viking production here. And I think he knows that Lilbo, when he opens with Colossus, that's never a fake. He never fakes it out. He never stops making Colossus go straight into charge or anything like that. So going for the 2nd starport already here. Really good decision by Bunny.
And an uncharacteristic supply block there for Lilbo. Of course, usually he does hit and trim these timings down to a T, but with that supply block, it annoys a little bit and will slow down that progress. Did he cancel 2-2? He did cancel 2-2.
He saw the army of Bunny. It's actually pretty massive. Look at it. Bunny has so many Marines and Marauders that if he takes a fight in an open space, like around this third base, or even between both of these potential third bases, even with 2 Colossi and this army of Lilbo, you can be in trouble very, very quickly. And I think he realized what was happening. There is quite a few medivacs. Aster, and you can also drop on top of this Colossi and this army. Look at this, Bunny spreading out his army.
He's got to feel a little bit uncomfortable here. Here come the Colossi. One of them is going to fall there. Bunny comes in from 2 sides, sniping out the first one. That being said, 2 more Colossi are on the left, and will be able to shred up quite a bit of that. Blinks forwards, getting himself on top of the medivacs, and it gets one of them pursuing Bunny on back. That could have gone worse, but Lilbo's able to hold on.
He could actually chase him down or even go for an attack on that third base now, having sniped that. And that chunk of army here by Bunny is isolated out on the map too. It's going to be very hard. I mean, he can come from both sides and go for a big flank, but against this many Colossi, he doesn't have the good Viking count that he needs right now. 6 Vikings to 4 Colossi, Kailaris. Look at this second he sniped.
Oh, it could be very, very difficult. Blinks forward, gets one of the Vikings, and at the same time, has to be careful about the flank that could potentially be set up. He sees the pylon. Bunny knows now that the aggression is going to be on. Of course he does, with this being so far forward. Needs to evacuate out there, get all his units together.
The probe's getting targeted down, and the pylon got cancelled, so that's...
Oh no.
That's going to erase...
Another pylon.
He gets another one.
Gonna save
That's
it
a
for the
massive
Colossus.
big deal. He can now reinforce into the fight, or at least very close to it.
And he will kill off that Marauder. Here comes more of the power here from Lilbo. Army supply, 83 to 70. At the moment, he's not making probes. This isn't a go back to your third base and just be okay, because right now, it's 64 workers against him. The economy is good here for Bunny, but Lilbo has power behind those 4 Colossi.
Yeah, 47 probes to 64 CVs. Lilbo needs to attack right now and do a lot of damage. 4 Colossi against 9 Vikings. It's now or never. He needs a very good fight. With the double time warp that he has, he can actually maybe get it. SCVs are being pulled.
Bunny knows he's in a bit of trouble here with this ground being seized, drops the scan, tries to get on top of this. Time warp is there, I think, under all of this. The Vikings are going to try and go to work, but are they going to be enough to deal with the Colossi at the back of it all? They've done the job that they need to do. He thinned out the bio here. The Colossi still survived up until the very end of this fight, and it's going to be up to the Stalkers now to finish off the job. GG. Game number 1 goes to Lilbo. Look at that face. This man is determined here in his first run in WCS. And I gotta wonder now, can Bunny gains back some momentum here? Lilbo, he has all the wind behind his sails from series to series to series. Can he be slowed down?
Honestly, at this point, I'm a little bit speechless as to how good he's playing. This is one of the first time that I've seen somebody able to recognize that he needed to cancel the 2-2. And here we see the final engagements. Even look at how clean this is in terms of engagement. The Zealots were at the front, Guardian Shield was covering most of the army. He blinked all of the Stalkers below these Vikings and sniped them very, very quickly, as well as the bio. And in the end, Bunny, even though he went for double starport and he had lots of Vikings, his ground army melted very, very quickly.
You're right, the Guardian Shield actually covering the Colossi, all importantly, making sure you can deny some of the damage there from the Vikings onto the Colossi. Very, very important. Lilbo taking a 1-0 lead in this best of 5. And so far, what a road he has had. And now he goes up. It's funny how all of the things that have been thrown at Lilbo, it's been the challenges. He started out at the very beginning, rolling on through Challenger, getting a really good win there, going into the round of 32, round of 16. Great plays. Going into this bracket as well, constantly going up against his rival in France, now going up against people's touted best non-Korean. He's making it work. He's making this happen.
Yeah, definitely. And we're going to be playing on Expedition last year as our second map, a map that Lilbo played against Marine Lord earlier, but it was just such a specific situation in Lilbo completely trying to counter Marine Lord's build that I don't think we're going to see too similar of a game here.
Yeah.
I think he's going to keep on mixing it up. He's going to keep on trying to react depending on how he thinks Bunny is going to be playing against him, which makes it so interesting. You know, the macro, the execution, the micro, these things I always knew he had, but what I really saw in the previous game that impressed me so much was the adaptation. You know, being able to recognize that he needed to cancel the 2-2 is just massive. So few players in the world are able to do this very well, and he was one of them in that game.
And we're getting now into game number 2 here, ladies and gentlemen, here of Toronto, as we have up to the top right-hand corner. It is our Blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Bunny. And down to the bottom left-hand corner. So far, had an absolute stomper of a run. Will he be able to continue it on? In the red, representing Millennium, it is Little Bo!
For those of you who missed it, I'm going to summarize what Lil Bo versus Marine Lord on this map was like earlier, so that maybe later on, it can come into context, fully realizing that both of these players, they know what happened and they're going to be playing according to it. So Lil Bo knew that it was very likely that Marine Lord was going to do a 2-base timing. So what did he do? He stayed on 2-base himself instead of taking a 3rd base and not having enough army, and he massed Colossi, charged lots on the ground, and then when Marine Lord moved out and wanted to go for his big siege, Lil Bo was there waiting for him in the shadows. Literally,
yes,
he came out of a bush, guns, guns blazing.
Yeah.
Not sure we can say that about Zealots. I guess blades.
Blades blazing.
Yes.
Go for it. It's fine.
And he literally slayed Marine Lord's army instantly.
Yeah.
Which was good game at this point. Marine Lord had to tap out. So he had countered his opponent. Now he's up against a Bunny that, as much as he knows him, he hasn't played nearly as much against as he did against Marine Lord. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Bunny expects that kind of 2-base massing out of Lil Bo and how he reacts to it. Not just build otherwise, but even going into the mid game, with how aggressive he wants to play. Because if your opponent is on 2-base and you don't want to, all in, usually the good move to do is to take a 3rd base as tier and have enough to defend. But if Bunny chooses to play aggressive, he's going to have to be very controlled aggression. And if he starts losing a little bit too much, then it can get really difficult to stay in the game.
Yeah. And Bunny, having breached into the top 16 with his results so far, moving into the round of 4, is something that, very few non-Korean players have ever been able to do here in the World Championship Series across the couple of years that we've now been running this. Indeed, 3. Thank you. I don't do maths on stream, but I'm glad you're here to do it for me. And the thing is that you get into the top 16 and you're like, yes, I'm there, I've done it. I'm in the top 16 now, but you want the cushion. You want the safety of being in the top 16. And for Bunny, that's what it's all about right now. Getting into the finals, getting into that top 16 and being able to go further. As, of course, you can also go on Twitter, guys, hashtag WCS Toronto, and hashtag who you think is going to be winning this series, Bunny or Little Bo, because this, as I said, is a very important one. We guarantee ourselves a non-Korean in the grand final here of the World Championship Series, and that has rarely ever happened.
It's funny, actually, earlier, Bunny was watching the VODs of Marine Lord against Lil Bo, and TLO came over, and he's the one who broke the news to Bunny. He told him, hey, congratulations, you made it into the top 16 of WCS points. And I was like, well, way to put pressure on him, man. And TLO was like, well, I'm just telling you that he made it. He should be happy, but again, making it to the top 16 is the first step. Staying there until the end of the season really was going to be difficult. Right now, from these tournaments, Bunny has secured himself at least 900 points, even if he was to lose here. And again, he's in exactly that 16th position in the WCS points. If he was to win here, he'd get 2,000 points overall here for his performance just in this tournament. So that's 1,100 more points. I think he'd have around 3,000 points and be around the 8th rank, which is
huge.
Much better than being 16th, that's for sure.
Definitely, definitely. There is a lot of potential behind Bunny to continue on and continue forward. He's going up against this guy, though, Little Bo, in this best of 5. And right now, he looks like a Terran Slayer. Very difficult to deal with, Little Bo. But now, we are almost ready to go back into game number 2 here in the first semi-final of the day. Of course, plenty more StarCraft action to come along, but let's get back into it, Toronto. I want to hear you guys out there for game number 2, resuming in just a moment. Fantastic crowd, fantastic atmosphere. What a pleasure it is to be here in Toronto as we jump right back on in. So, see if Bunny can even up the odds here in this best of 5. You don't want to be going down 2 games in a best of 5 here, especially against someone as formidable as Little Bo, because every game will be different. Even if he throws down a double forge going into the later stages of this game, he could quite easily continue on with that 2-2. He could quite easily use that as a properly strong basis to his army later on, and it could look exactly the same, but continuing on is something completely different.
I feel like there's a chance Bunny might be a little bit stunned right now, because usually, you know, he's the one in the foreign scene, in the European scene, to really not have that much trouble with his fellow Europeans.
Yes.
Whereas here, in the first game, it just went really bad for him. He kind of, you know, got stomped a little bit. So going into this game, he has to be wondering maybe here if this is it. You know, Lil Bo he just seems unstoppable here right now. Bunny is gonna need a hell of a performance to take out this guy right now, because Lil Bo he's been on fire in all of these games that we've seen.
Gonna scout, gonna find out what Bunny's up to.
I like the quick scouts here. He's
Just
gonna be able to see that this is a Reaper opener.
Yeah, yeah. Just confirming that the gas is indeed there. He's not going to get exploited by like a command center first or something like that, which on Expedition Lost, actually the Reaper opening is more uncommon, but it's certainly still there in Bunny's arsenal, and it will be used.
Lil Bo has been doing a lot of double gas here early on in those games, but not only he went for just the one assimilator here in this game, he also only has 2 probes mining out of it. So I guess he wants to go for that quick Nexus here. And Bunny's gonna do a good job of blocking that here for some time.
Yeah, he's going to try. Second probe comes in though, and we'll be able to push that away.
And Bunny behind this, by the way, he keeps on mining gas. It's gonna be a factory, and most likely Widowmine drops. He's trademarked the things that he's best at, the thing that he's made a lot of Protosses look bad, including myself.
That's a good point that you bring up, a very good point. His trademark,
Yeah.
you said a very important word, his trademark. Not wanting to fall down 2 games in a best of 5 here, he's going back to a build where he feels most comfortable. He's going back to that secure position of a build he knows best. And in the end, when a lot is on the line, what better way to do it, Todd?
Yeah, definitely. It's funny actually, because there was a time he was just so good with it. I remember there was a show match that he played against Harstem, I think it was, and he got interviewed right before. And when asked what he was gonna do, he literally said, well, I'm gonna drop Widow Mines and I'm gonna win. Guess what? That's exactly what happened.
He dropped Widow Mines and he won.
Yeah, very,
Beautiful.
very confident back then. So far in the series, didn't seem that confident. You know, he played with just lots of bio and defensive against the Oracle of his opponent here in game number 1. Definitely gonna have to do better here though against Lil Bo, who seemingly is not afraid of anybody. It's so funny how, you know, he's a guy who last season lost in Challenger against Showtime. Then Showtime made round of 4,
Yeah.
and was considered as one of the very best European Protosses, maybe, if not the best. Guess what? Next season, Lil Bo is the one in round of 4 this time. And he's doing really well for himself. So he says in his interviews he wants to be number 1. He's very, very ambitious, and so far it really shows.
He's very ambitious, and let's be honest, he's very, very close. With making a finals, that would be so impactful, so impactful.
Oh, 3 additional games. This is the thing with Lil Bo. A lot of the time, like I said before, he either opens Oracle or he goes for Blink, sometimes even with both. But this game, with at least 4 gateways, I think he's for sure going to want to play aggressive.
How does having no detection hinder his plan here, though? Because he doesn't have a Robo, he doesn't have a Stargate, he doesn't have the ability to spot these Widow Mines if they do hit. He has to kill them really fast, surely.
Yeah, I think he might just be going for one of those games where you all in on the Terran side of the map, and if you Widow Mine drop your middle line, then you kind of accept that it's happening.
Okay.
And you try to mine as much as possible and kill the Terran back at home with your Blink Stalkers, because you can dodge those Widow Mine shots.
Uh-oh. 5th gateway as well here for Lil Bo. He's looking to put on the pressure. And
He's
here,
going to start proxying those pylons, man. It's going to happen.
it
Oh,
was-
if Bunny spots this, this is huge.
that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Lil Bo placing this down the bottom. So the medevac has been spotted, but likewise the pylon has been spotted as well. So both players knowing what each other are up to. He's going to warp in some defensive units, make sure that those units can't drop, because if they do, he will be losing a lot of mining time in the mineral line because he can't clean it up otherwise.
Yeah, the Widow Mine drop here is about to happen. There is a few Stalkers, but the Photon Overcharge wasn't over.
Will he clean up? Will he clean up in time? It doesn't look like it. He got himself the medevac, but 3 probes will end up dying. He's going to deny a little bit of mining. He will go back there and just pull them away as it's going on. But Stalker's warping in aggressively now towards the back rocks. Bunkers have been started here by Bunny. He knows what's going on, and all he has to do is lock down and buy himself time, because back home, Lil Bo can't do much.
Yeah, this is all in here by Lil Bo. He's not even going to attempt to even get detection. No Forge, no Robo on the way. He's just going to go all in, warp in a lot of Stalkers, try and kill Bunny. It either succeeds or it fails. This is a complete all-in back at home. Probes are being blown up, and This is now or never.
He's going to have to manage this well. The Stalkers actually already got to one bunker, and the SCVs have no answer to it at all. This is a good position for him. He could get Stim. If he gets Stim, that's a big deal here. He manages to pick it up very, very nicely. And these bio units not having Stim against these Blink Stalkers, he actually cuts across, denying the Blink Stalkers from even getting into the bunker. 26 armor supply against 12 here, and he has a very few units left. He only has 2 Marines and 1 Marauder. Trying to block it again. He gets the block. GG! Little Bo! What a play! Adapting and understanding that he's able to deal with the Widow Mines even without detection, and finds the holes, the path forwards. Even with 2 bunkers present at the back, 2 bunkers present at the front, he understands his opportunities. He understands when to hit and when to go for the killing blow.
Yeah. Do you know why Lil Bo didn't hesitate here? Because he's one of the very few Protosses that actually plays this style a lot, and he's been in this situation many, many times before. I've seen him in action. Actually, it must have been earlier when he was warming up here before the tournament started. I think I saw one of his games, and he was in that very situation. Back at home, you know, Widow Mines were blowing up probes, and he was across the map just focusing on trying to finish off his Terran opponent. And in the end, Bunny, I think he must have thought that Lil Bo wasn't going to commit everything to the aggression here. Was probably going to try to get a bunch of observers, some detection at home, because he wasn't ready in the main. He didn't have enough SCVs there. The Widow Mine was at the natural. He had a lot of units there as well. And in the end, you can't let that happen against somebody like Lil Bo that just goes for it with every single one of his Stalkers.
Yeah, every single ounce of him is in an attack. He commits fully when he sees the opportunity. And now, ladies and gentlemen, that man on stage is 1 game away from the grand final here in the World Championship Series, in his first season of the World Championship Series, where he hasn't had the chances to prove himself before. But when he got this one opportunity, oh boy, is he on the road. He is making this look fantastic. Here are the final moments of Game 2 once again, and you can see the commitment to it. And again, watch the plays, watch the technique of Blink to block units from even being able to get back into bunkers. It's fantastic.
Micro-wise, like, this was perfect. You know, target on the bunker, get the Marauder in 1 volley, go up there, snipe Blink, snipe Stim Pack, and then from there, just blink back those Stalkers as they are getting injured, snipe the SCVs and remainder of the Marines. This kind of looked like Parting here for a second was playing. Actually, maybe even better.
Oh.
Risky words.
Well, now that man here, Bunny, has one more chance. One more chance to keep himself alive here in the World Championship Series. Let's get into it. Game number 3 in this semi-final. It could be the last game here in this series as we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner, our Liquid Terran. It is Bunny! He cannot lose composure. He cannot let this slip away. And up to the top left-hand corner, we have our red Protoss. 1 game away from the grand final, representing Team Millennium. It is Little Bo.
Lil Bo, who won the last 6 maps he played against Bunny. I don't think too many Protosses can say that. He's a pretty scary Terran versus Protoss player. Lil Bo, though, I have to say, he's capable of playing so many builds that it makes it so difficult to play against him. If you're Bunny here, like, you try to play a little bit aggressive, a little bit defensive, nothing's really working. Same thing happened to Marine Lord, you know? We saw it from game to game. Like in game number 2, he tried to play a lot more defensive at first to then go into the offense, but Lil Bo seems to read everything perfectly. It's almost as if only something very special can beat him. I think either that or you have to play some of the cleanest Terran versus Protoss to be able to do it, which Bunny is definitely capable to do. We've seen him in the past. This is one of the strongest matchups.
Yeah. I mean, you're right about that. You either have to have something special about you or play a different race, because at the moment he is looking so impenetrable against Terran. He finds the weaknesses. He's able to sniff them out like a bloodhound and then just be able to exploit. It's pretty brutal to watch, actually. Little Bo is making the later stages of this tournament so far look like child's play. He's making it look easy for him.
Yeah. Bunny here, I really like the choice that he made in the previous game of, you know, going for his main style and, you know, trying to make it work, but the execution wasn't good enough. And when I say execution, I mean, what I really mean is the defense. You didn't get ready. It's almost as if he didn't really see how committed Lilbo was going to be to this attack. And I think he should have realized it after the first two Widow Mines blew up this many probes. It takes less than that sometimes to make Protoss players desperate and go for the all-in, so definitely maybe he could have read a little bit better into that. Much like in the previous game, Lilbo here had 2 walkers only on the assimilator for some time, so he's definitely going to want to rush that Nexus. And on the other side of the map, same opener as in the previous game here by Bunny. He's going to try again the same thing that he did in the previous game, with the quick factory here behind this, and probably the starport and the Widow Mine drop.
Works out okay. Nexus and Command Center at the same time, pretty much. While we have that second assimilator going down, the Reaper will jump on in, get good eyes on that. And then even if he heads up towards the top left, he could see that there was an extra pylon up there. So he would know the pylon placement.
Oh, the probe.
So then let us scout.
Loses one.
Nice.
Behind this Lilbo, though, it's going to be actually decently hard scouting, possibly, you know, what he's going to go for. Is it a Twilight? Is it a Robo? That'd be funny if he went Robo, because first game he opened Stargate, second game Twilights with Blink, and this time Robo. He'd really have done everything, you know? Keep it in perfect balance.
May as well just keep rotating around that spinny wheel of Protoss builds. That's how Lilbo likes to orchestrate his play style.
And it's a Twilight here once again in the back of his mirror line, so we don't, I think, see DTs all that often out of Lilbo. So as much as this could be an okay time to go for it, I don't think that with a Reaper on the map and, you know, the scouting capability that Bunny's gonna have, it'd be such a good idea. So I'm thinking Blink a lot more here right now out of him. We've seen actually Lilbo open Blink, you know, add on gateways, then get a Robo and get Observers on time to defend against the Widow Mine. That'd be the same scenario as in the previous game, except instead of having to all in with your Blink Stalkers, you just defend in the first place, and then you're in a good position, you know, with having Blink and being able to defend against those Widow Mine drops, Medivacs and everything. And you can even apply some pressure.
Good scout. He found out what he needed to. Twilight Council is researching behind all of this. Blink is going to be the weapon of choice here for Lilbo to try and round out this series.
Only one additional gate, so I'm pretty sure that we're going to see a Robo follow this up here very, very shortly. And we've seen Lilbo do this in the past and pull it off very well. And here goes the Robo.
Okay. So just a hint of Blink with the side of Robo facility here for Lilbo to keep him going. It's a bit more of a sturdier build, let's be honest.
This could do some damage here. Because when you go for Blink like this, you have to spend, you know, minerals and gas into not just the Twilight, but the Blink research. Bunny knows that. And a lot of Marines plus Hellions can do a lot of damage on those mineral lines here of Lilbo. So I think he's going to drop the Marines in the main and go with the Hellions into the natural.
This is actually a Bunny special as well, actually, now that I think about it. He is one of the guys that really execute this kind of
Bunny
build.
special.
Yeah, man. That's on the menu as well. So he will now send over those Hellions over towards the main base with the Marines going towards the... Sorry, the Marines to the main, Hellions to the natural. And this has to do some damage here. It is quite the commitment.
Lilbo has no idea. He's about to find out here. He uses the photon overcharge in the main.
So many units, so many units. How is he going to be able to clean this up at the same time? The photon overcharge isn't doing anything. It's just slightly out of range. This could be a disaster here for Lilbo.
The mineral line in the natural is going to get smashed.
Oh, this is brilliant here for Bunny to try and get himself back into this series. Those Marines holding on back. 12 workers have already gone down. He's absolutely destroying the mineral line at the natural, getting 21 worker kills, and the Hellions still aren't dead. They're going to back off. Brilliant move here by Bunny. Absolutely brilliant.
I really like that he pulled back here before losing all of them. He killed 21 probes. That's an insane amount of units here, and didn't even really lose that much, just a bunch of Marines or Hellions. Only mineral units here. Behind this, he's afraid that Lilbo will go desperate, fully realizes that it was Blink. Again, he scouted it earlier, so he's going to start some tanks here. At least a first one in the first place here for Bunny. Remember, though, as much as Bunny did a bunch of damage, there is no steam pack on the way just yet, or combat shield, or +1. So all of that is delayed a lot.
I really appreciate that you pointed that out, Todd, because that is very important, and it can hurt and can hinder against something like a Colossus push that could come out here from Lilbo. He's trying to get those Colossi out as quickly as possible. Doesn't have Thermal Lance on the way just yet, and maybe a little bit choked up in how much money he actually has.
Oh, the Hellions!
He's the
Lilbo's not ready. Here comes the barbecue again.
Oh, dear me. He's going to lose even more. In this mineral line, he just gets completely exploited. 5 more workers go down. He tries to open a sentry, and that goes down to the Hellions as well. A brilliant pickup here for Bunny. 10 more workers plummet. He will clean up the Hellions, but now, for Little Bo, surely it's do or die with the Colossus.
Bunny with some crazy game sense here, fully knowing that Lil Bo might be moving out, might be losing patience here a little bit just to see what's happening. 48 SCVs to 33 probes. I mean, as much as Lil Bo is going to be chrono boosting out probes, that means that he can't chrono boost out his Colossi. And behind this, Bunny's going to go up to 5 barracks. He's going to have at least 1 tank. I think he has, no, 2 tanks to work with. And I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if he kept being aggressive while taking a 3rd base here.
Totally on lockdown is Bunny. Totally on lockdown with the bunkers, with the siege tanks, those stalkers at the front. Obviously, with the Observer in place, would love to just get in there, try and even up the odds, try and get some SCV kills, but it doesn't look like Bunny is going to give it to him. Bunny is going to play this safe. He is going to play this to the book now and just round out this game. Make sure that he is going to be able to secure his first game in this best of 5.
And I think we're going to find out very soon what Lil Bo wants to go into here with his Colossus tech. Is he going to be, you know, 4 additional gateways and then all in is going to be a Twilight? He drops down some gates here. I see in the back of the middle line of his natural, at least 2 more. Yeah, I'm thinking 2 base here. 2 base Colossus maybe.
Think
okay,
so.
no, it's just 2 gates. So still has room to drop down something like a Forge and a Twilight. But remember his economy. He only just now reached the ideal income on 2 bases with 16 mineral probes on each, and the gas is saturated. Whereas Bunny, I mean, he said that for quite some time, and he has the 3rd command center on the way.
At the moment, 2 Colossi are in defense. A 3rd one's about to pop out, and Thermal Lance will finish up pretty soon. I'm not sure Bunny can do too much with his army at the moment, but the 3rd command center finishing up. Vikings in production. But he doesn't have that many Vikings at the moment. I wonder if Little Bo just goes with like 4 Colossi and just tries to Hail Mary it all the way through the middle.
That Observer, by the way, is really good here by Lil Bo. The thing is, he always keeps it out of range, that if Bunny scans, the Observer can get away.
Yeah.
That's actually really, really hard to do, but he's done that so well. This is so hard to do, man. I just click my Observer on the army of the Terran, and then next time I look, it's been sniped by a scan.
That Marine, I think it saw some of the army movement there at the front. These 4 Stalkers definitely.
Falling back right now. With them having a Marine on the 3rd base of where Lil Bo would want to take it, I think Bunny realizes right now that he's playing against a guy who you know, definitely knows how to do 2 base when he wants to. And look at this, additional gateways being thrown down here. Lil Bo, I think he's going to go for a 2 base, but the supply difference is massive.
Yeah, very big. 89 army supply against 59 in favor of Bunny here. All he has to do is hold on.
Lil Bo is going to need a hell of an engagement here to win this game. The Observer gets sniped. Tanks are already sieged, so it's so hard for him to attack into this. He might just blink into the main.
Yeah.
And what with the Colossus there?
He might, because there's not many more angles he has available here. Drops the scan, sees the pylon going down. Bunny knows there is desperation here from Little Bo in this game.
Yeah.
He knows that all the damage he did earlier on is putting Little Bo in that really extremely disadvantaged.
He's going to go in the main.
Oh, here we go. Shift Q blink in there, using the Colossi. And actually some of the Stalkers want to come in as well. He's going to try and siege advantage on this ramp.
It's going to be so hard to come up the ramp here for Bunny.
Been stuck.
Oh, but Lil Bo is letting him get up the ramp.
Oh, and they're going to come up here. As long as he stims up and goes in from the concave, that should be pretty good for him. He's on top of it with a lot of his bio as well. This is Bunny's game. He's going to rip this away from Little Bo. A great start, great finish. GG. Game number 3 goes to Bunny, and he keeps himself alive here in this best of 5 series. Our best non-Korean at the moment stays alive and makes sure that he still has the opportunity to get onto the final where he really, really wants to be.
You know, we are saying it's going to take something special or some very good play here for Bunny to start turning things around. Yeah. And I guess it was a bit of both in the end, because that was definitely a special build here catered to basically counter what Lil Bo was doing.
Yeah.
Going for the Hellions instead of the Widow Mines was so smart. If he had gone for Widow Mines, there was going to be enough Stalkers to defend quite easily, I think, against them. And I think he could, I mean, you can just pull the probes away. You're not going to just, you know, sit there and lose a ton of probes. Whereas the Hellions, you can't really run away. Once the Photon Overcharge is used in the main, your natural is exposed. 6 Hellions there just try everything.
And I mean, this
Bunny's
turning point-
reactions to everything, even sniping the Mothership Courier was a massive big deal.
Yeah, this is basically the turning point at the 7-8 minute mark. Now, as the Hellions dart on in, is it a case of you have to have the Photon Overcharge down towards defending the Hellions? Is there any other options here for Protoss?
I think you kind of need to see it coming and have more units. If you have like 6 Stalkers and at your natural, you can fight these Hellions much better and kill them before they can kill enough probes. But it's funny because I've been in that situation myself before, and when Bunny reached the natural of Lilbo and the Photon Overcharge was used in the main, I think Lilbo, he saw his whole life flashing right before him, and so did I. Because I've been in this situation before. I was like, oh god, like this is gonna be bad. He's gonna lose so many probes. And in the end, yeah, Bunny, with some very good control on these Alliance here and a nice build, takes game number 3.
Well done by him, keeping himself alive. It's very, very important. Now we go on to Echo, where he could potentially tie up this whole series. I'm wanting all 5 games here. Echo will be our map, Todd, as we get loaded in. Who are you favoring here going into this map?
Maybe Bunny. This is like more of, you know, usual battlegrounds here. Actually, Terran versus Protoss 5-5 instead.
Wow. Close as anything. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen, as we have. Spawning up to the top left-hand corner, it is our blue Terran looking to bring it back here in this best of 5. It is Liquid Bunny. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, it's our red Protoss representing Millennium. It is Little Bo.
Alright, Bunny, as cool as this was, he already used the Marine Drop Hellion cards. It feels very unlikely he'd be able to pull something like that off again, especially because Lilbo is definitely going to be on his card now. So what is he going to? And most of all, is he again able to spot what Lilbo is doing, which is really what I think what allowed him to read perfectly into what attack to go for.
Yeah.
He spotted the Twilight, I think, as it just finished.
Very early, very early. He spotted it as Blink is about 10 seconds or so into production, so he knows that it's researching. He probably 9.9 times out of 10, you know it's going to be Blink. And do you feel though that still in this series, do you feel Little Bo still dictates the pace? Is it for Bunny to be the reactionary player here to continue forwards?
I mean, he was at first, but with what happened in the last game, I don't think we can say so anymore. Because as much as dictating the pace is nice, sometimes he can backfire big time, and that's what happened in previous game, with him being scouted and perfectly countered. So Bunny here, he's gonna want to be scouting a lot once again here. It's really his scout in the previous game that put him in a good position as well as the aggression that he picked. And look at this, SCV scout early on. Since he went for the barracks at 12 and the gas at 12, he's gonna be a Reaper opener with which he's gonna be able to scout a lot here again.
All right, well, SCV is going to be sent forwards first after the Reaper, or before the Reaper, I should say. And Little Bo just creating that small chunk of wall off here to start things up. But there is a big hole in that one, so I suppose it's not exactly the biggest of walls for him to really do too much. But Bunny, with this SCV, can delay the Nexus from going down for a little bit. And that always, the small things, small advantages in games like this.
I think there's a good chance in this game Bunny's going to do the same thing as in the previous game, but Widow Mines instead of Hellions.
Oh, snuck that down a little bit more quick than he would have normally done against that SCV there. So slight slip up from Bunny. Not the biggest, of course, but he could have delayed for a few seconds more.
And Lilbo, is he going to be going back to the Stargate play that he used earlier? Or is it still going to be Blink? Definitely the 2-tech path that he seems to favor a lot more than pretty much anything else. You almost never see Lilbo, just open Robo, tactical losses, play passively. If he opens for a quick Robo, usually there's going to be a quick Robo bay and a lot of aggression on 2 bases.
Bunny with Factory going down here, Todd, is this him saying, well, okay, that worked not very well, and maybe I'll try something like that again? Or, of course, he could still go back to even Widow Mines if he wanted.
Yeah, I think that's a great mind game to play, having played with Aliens in the previous game and fully knowing that Lilbo is not going to be able to scout early on. It feels almost as if, Lilbo has to guess what he's going to be up against. Yeah. Which is very, very hard to do in StarCraft 2, because if you make the wrong choice, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So Lilbo, the fact that he doesn't scout too much definitely can be used against him, I think. And Bunny knows that. Like, look at the map right now with Lilbo's vision. He scouted absolutely nothing. So as much as there's been a few instances where he scouted early on with a probe, this time he didn't check for anything.
Little Bo keeps wanting to close out this series with the Twilight Council opener. It doesn't have to be all in full go aggression, but one thing is for sure, it does provide him a little bit of security with the blink that he is so well versed with. And the Reaper, once again, is looking to get that information, and it will get it as he does see the Twilight Council all the way towards the back. But here come the gateways.
Oh, 2 gateways. So I'm wondering whether or not he wants to get a robo here with this, because if he doesn't, he's going to be in the same situation as he were in the first game, where somehow he made it work. But I don't think this is a situation where you're going to be able to make that work all that often. And we see a probe actually moving across the map here already for Lil Bo, who's already thinking about dropping down some pylons here to be aggressive with his blink play. Robo or not, that is the question right now. And if he doesn't go for it, he's going to be in a very difficult situation here once again.
He's chrono boosting out that blink and just getting out of his small supply block there. Briefly pylon on the other side of the map as well. Is there the potential here for Little Bo to use this blink after showing it and putting his Stalkers in an aggressive position to fake out Bunny a little bit so he overcommits? Is there the potential for that for Little Bo?
Yeah, quite possibly. The thing is, if he's out on the map when the Widowmine drop hits, he's going to be in a lot of trouble.
That is true. Needs to get that Robo done.
He starts moving out with the Stalkers.
Uh-oh.
This is the worst time. Robo is not even finished yet. As much as you can react very quickly and pull the probes away, he's going to lose so much mining time no matter what.
Yeah. And it's not like the last situation. It's not like he has a lot of...
And there's the Widowmine in defense for Bunny, by the way, back at home.
And these Widowmines going to start burrowing, and it will deny some of the mining time going down here completely. Turns his attention to the medevac to try and push that away with Foot and Overcharge. Stalkers now showing their presence at the front of the map here. An extra bunker going down. He sees the Widowmine. That's quite a few Stalkers there, 9 in total at the front. But I don't know if he can get much done with it here. He's going to try and blink back past all of this. And this is quite an ambitious move here for Little Bo. He's on cooldown on this blink. The Marine's going to try and focus all of this down. Blink is just about to come off cooldown, though. He's going to try and blink them back. He's not even blinking them down onto the low ground. He just want to trade off against Marines here and get as many SCVs as possible.
Did you see Lil Bo's macro? He shifted all of those Marines and they started blinking Stalkers back. He traded very, very well here already, but both players, they trade Walker's kills.
Oh my.
But now in the end, Lil Bo's defended back at home, whereas Bunny's still taking damage.
And he blinks some more Stalkers up here. He has the vision. He has the ability to go for this. Gets himself a medevac. And Bunny is up against it at the moment. Even uses the Stalker to stoke forwards. He blinks forwards here. The Little Bo is looking to try and finish this. He is looking to do crippling damage here to Bunny and advance on to the final. How many units are left here for Bunny?
Yeah,
He's scrambling
in the main.
He's scrambling. He's got 1 Marauder, 6 Marines, 2 Widowmines. And again, the movement back here. Little Bo knows what's up. He's going to bring down the tech lab. If he can limit the amount of Marauders that are going to be out here, that's going to make these Stalkers all the more effective.
47 probes to 29 SCVs. Bunny's trying to stay in there, but he's really struggling to get enough units out to really hold this.
And he's going to just continue to focus them down. Now he has the advantage of being able to blink down onto the low ground if he needs it. Blinks one of those Stalkers back, trying to get the focus on the Marauders. There you go, GG! Little Bo is able to advance on to the grand finals here in the World Championship Series. An amazing victory here, able to take down Bunny in the semis. And this is the first time we've had a non-Korean in the grand finals for quite some time.
And just like that, we have our first finalist today that will be going on to the very finals of this season, Season 2 of WCS. I mean, straight up right away, how do you feel, man?
So happy, mate. Now it's time to slay some Koreans.
Oh! Well, you'll definitely get your chance. You earned it. You got to this point. I mean, you've been called that you were probably the best player in France for a long time. You had to take down your teammate Marine Lord on the way, but you won that game very convincingly. You come in against Bunny. Did you kind of expect that, you know what, now that I'm already in the quarterfinals, I'm going to get to the finals, or were you worried each time?
I was a bit worried, but actually my PVT is my best matchup, so I was worried, but not that much. I was a lot thinking about who I will meet in the finals, basically.
Wow, well, thinking ahead, now, I think we were all very impressed in both the second map and this last one, especially the last couple blinks, how you made sure you split off your Stalkers. But in map 2, you saw the medevac coming in with your pylon and, of course, your probe going forward, and you probably knew, all right, here come the mine drops. Bunny's known for them. Were you a little bit scared? Because Bunny has taken out a lot of Protosses so far with those mine drops.
Well, the map was expeditionless, so I could just attack by the rocks, and from there he can't do anything if he's going for a drop mine. So it was just over since I saw the medivac.
All right, well, with some excellent play, Lilbo, congratulations. You are our first finalist here in WCS Premier League Season 2. Can't wait to find out who your opponent will be.
The first player since 2013 in Season 1 to get back to another final is Lilbo, the second Frenchman in our history to do so. This is a big moment for France. I know that the Yo Gaming stream is covering the games right now. Everyone was telling me Funker the Observer could hardly observe that game properly because he's so excited for this. A crazy game there, and just so convincing. Another game that Lilbo's played, and another good victory, Jeff.
3-1, as predicted by some of us. Really commanding good play. It was very sharp. I really like that Chobra asked that really relevant question, actually. And asked him about the Stalker opening, and he said, well, if I see the medevac, and it's really common in the meta right now to do that Widowmine drop, he has designed, and well, not really designed, excuse me, but he's using a build that counters that meta. And unfortunately, Bunny kind of got stuck in his ways, and that meant that Lilbo went to a fairly easy win. I mean, there was a couple pretty exciting games there, but for the most part, it was straightforward.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised as well. Like on Expedition Lost, that was very different than on the last map, right? Because on the last map, it's just 3 gateway counter pressure, which is indeed quite popular as well for Protoss. The moment you get dropped, you try to do some counter pressure. But most of the time, when the Terran is prepared, and Bunny is prepared for that stuff, he gets the defensive mind, he gets the bunker, he immediately pulls SCVs. But Lilbo is really good in still making something happen. And while normally most Protoss players would say like, let's not overextend right now. You know, I kill a couple SCVs, I force him to stop mining, and then the probes are lost at home. It doesn't matter that much anymore. But Lilbo just goes all in, and you know, Kalaris pointed out as well, he was blinking Stalkers back, but not to the low ground. No, he was still blinking him back on the high ground with all the intention to stick around. And it's a very risky move, because if you end up losing 6-7 Stalkers, you're dead. But Lilbo has really excellent just game knowledge, I guess, in that situation. How much can a Terran produce? How many SCVs can I kill? He handled it so well. I was very impressed.
Keep on strategy one last time here, Roddy. Lilbo just said in the winner's interview, Protoss versus Terran is his best matchup. We have a Terran in the other semi-final. Yeah. He also just, is known for as a Protoss versus Zerg specialist. There's a Zerg in the other semi-final. This is lining up. You know, there's like stars pointing towards the trophy, and Lilbo's walking that path right now.
Yeah, I was very surprised he said that, because I know him for his PvZ, and he's been getting so much praise for his PvZ in the European scene, and I love his Sentry Blinkstalker control in that matchup. Against Paul is still a different player, I think, than Bunny is. But I mean, it looked very convincing. I still think that potentially would be a very different series. I have no idea, but I mean, you're onto something. If he's that confident in PvD, and we all love his PvZ, you could say the sky is the limit. Maybe he can go all the way.
I mean, he's had so much confidence since the very beginning, and not just at this tournament. Todd brought up an interview a long time ago, and he said, a French interview, Lilbo said he didn't have goals to be the #1 French player. He didn't actually have goals to be the best non-Korean. He had the goals to go as far as he can possibly go, and for the first time ever, Jeff, we're seeing that, and he's played so well in doing so.
Yeah, absolutely. And he hasn't gotten here through flukes or easy pathways. He's earned it, and it's pretty amazing. And I like the analysis that he is probably the best bet to stand toe-to-toe with either Hydra or Polt, just in matchup, but also history. I don't believe he's played Polt, but he did beat Hydra to get here as well. And I know that that's kind of been the mantra of TLO of past, but I feel like Lilbo is a little bit something special right now.
I mean, France over the years as well, if we look at history, especially in RTS games, we'll go back to Brood War. We had Elke way back when, who played Brood War at the highest level.
Guillaume? Oh, that was Montreal. Never mind.
Kind of French name, though. So we had Elke in Brood War. We'll give Todd a bit of a highlight. Of course, Todd in Warcraft 3. StarCraft 2, we've had Stefano. And again, in 2015, Lilbo has risen up to a position that we haven't really seen too often in the European scene. It's a fantastic moment for France. But I want to switch focus just briefly here before we go to the second semi-final. Bunny. Yeah. So close to, again, the final he dreams for, but is ripped away again. Last season, Polt, this season, Lilbo.
Pretty devastating loss, I'd say. It's not, I mean, I know he just did it back-to-back seasons, but normally you don't get in this position very often that you can A, play for so much money, and B, he could have taken such a giant leap towards those grand finals later this year at BlizzCon. And this is still a great run, don't get me wrong. Semi-finals is a lot of points, but you know, from this point on, the jump in points is so big. It would have helped him so much, gave him so much more comfort for the rest of the year. And I think it's a really rough loss as well. Like, you look at these games, you're just like, man, like, Blink Stalk as Protoss, you know, like it's gonna take a week, I think, to get over this one.
Yeah,
It's rough, but he's okay. It's season 2. He's tied for 16th. Team Liquid's got that sick dank bank. They're going to be sending him to other tournaments. He's going to go around, and if he maintains this level and this talent, round of 4s, that kind of thing, we're going to see a lot of Bunny, and hopefully at BlizzCon as well.
Yeah, that's something very good about the WCS system as well. I think last year, MMA was outside the top 16 and had to travel to like all the European events to accumulate enough points to be able to play at the global finals. And it's something which Bunny's going to have to hope for with success in Season 3 too, Roddy.
Yeah, but some of those European events, they can become very difficult as well, because instead of 3-4 Koreans, suddenly you're playing against 12 to 16 Koreans.
Yeah.
And I mean, he has had great runs at Gfinities as well. DreamHack maybe not so much. I think Home Circuit Cup is coming up. Maybe he can do some damage there. But it's going to be difficult. It's not over or something. It still had a great run, but this was such a golden opportunity to immediately get 500 points extra. And you know, that is like a top 4 finish at some of those other events. It's not easy to cut by. And especially, you know, like even though Lilba has had a really good track record against Bunny, I still think Bunny looked at it and probably thought like, this could very well be, you know, that moment that I've been finally waiting for. I'm playing against another foreigner that I know is good, but this was, I wouldn't say missed opportunity because it's still a good run, but this was something, it could have been extremely special. Now it's just like, well, I did good. I can be happy with this, but it's not, I think, what he was hoping for.
Yeah, a good performance from Bunny nonetheless, but the spotlight has changed from one European to the other. The final set now, the next semi-final that we're going to be going into is the rematch from Season 1 Grand Finals. It is going to be Pult versus Hydra. This is going to be not one to miss.